rocking and rolling. All right. All right. So here we are. Sorry for the delay. I'm Greg, and I'm better at coaching than I am at Zoom presentations, but we'll get going right away. So again, apologize for the delay. Myself and Adam are who's been bugging you the past what now, almost 3-4 months since March, since we opened up registration. And I think last time we checked, Adam, I could be wrong, but we are 3 coaches away from having 211 volunteer head coaches. So we have about it's estimated to get up to 2,600 kids in our program for this fall. And we literally couldn't do it without you guys. So I know we have head coaches and we have volunteer coaches and assistant coaches on this call. And every single person makes a difference, and again, we just really do thank you so much for stepping up and doing it. I'm not sure if Cheryl's on the call or not, but if she is, she's coaches in our program as well. She's also on our board, and she is the VP of recreation. It's great to have her, and because she's in our program, obviously a great resource for coaches to have as well. And then actually the president of our board, Jim Barnhill, was the former VP of recreation. So we've got a very strong rec roots in our board and well represented. So it's always nice to have that as well. So that's kind of who we are. You can email us, Adam or Greg or Cheryl at just our first name, then at ourcitysc.com, and we will get back to you guys in a timely manner. But without further ado, we're going to get into it. And again, a lot of this stuff we're going to send out to you again in a email with a coach's guide, so you'll have that as well. So today is really just an introduction, not to pry you away from your homes and be able to keep you on the computer best you can, and obviously spend some time with your families before the whole crazy fall season starts. So our game formats. So this is kind of like how the season will look and how games will look on Saturdays. So for our U5 and U7, all of our games are played on local fields. Again, I think most of you have access to your team snaps already. So I know Adam's plugging the schedule in as we speak. So you can kind of see when our game times are, what fields you'll be at. Most of it is pretty consistent, and you'll be at the same fields for the majority of the season, with some off weeks going on. But so just important to pay attention to those times and days. Because for example, I know like in the north, we lose Calavera on a couple weekends. I know we lose like La Costa Heights for a softball tournament. So things like that happen, and your games will be at a different location. So it's important to pay attention to those things on Team Snap. But in the format for these guys, U5 and U7, we play like 4-minute quarters, 4 8-minute quarters, which is kind of nice to give the kids a break. Coaches kind of manage the game by themselves. So typically a coach from each team's on the field, helping out and assisting when needed. And again, on the field, we say 4v4 and 3v3. U5, we've expanded into almost, I think, 6 or 8 teams at on the boys' side. And so really, I think the rosters are typically a little lighter than normal. I think we have like 10 to 11 players. So if you show up on Saturday and let's say, for example, both teams have like 9 kids and you guys decide that you think 3v3 is better, you guys can use your best judgment and adjust as needed. I think for the U5, U7, I think we're going to be jammed. I think 4v4 is going to be just fine. This is really just for U5. U5, we're going to give the coaches the option to go 3v3 or 4v4 based on what's out there and what the numbers look like. And then you'll have 2 fields going. So your schedule will say field 1A or field 1B, and they'll be right next to each other. And typically, a coach will go to each field. So you'll have 2 people representing you guys as you play. And this season, we've done our best to kind of keep our U7 rosters because it's a dual age group. Half will be 2019 players, and the other half will be 2018 players. We did this best we can. So this way you have like-minded kids playing in that age. Theoretically, it would be like your A team and your B team going against each other, if that makes sense. So you've got the younger kids playing against the older kids, or so you don't have the younger kids playing against the older kids. But you may have a really talented 2019 who can move up to the 2009 to the 2018 field. So you don't have to keep it like that. It just hopefully makes it easier and a better game as we play out the season. And we'll get more information on that as we kind of lead up to game time for those U5 and U7 teams. Really just U7 with its dual age group. But it's something that we spent a little bit more time this year doing when we build those rosters out so that each team has an even amount of birth year kids on that team. And then the regular soccer rules apply for this age group. So we're going to go goal kicks if the ball goes out of bounds, corner kicks if the ball goes out, gets kicked out by the defense, and so forth. Now, it might look a little funny. We'll do throw-ins and everything else. But again, you guys are the coaches and you guys get to kind of manage that game, right? So it is a little bit more difficult. This year was kind of nice for the U5 and U7 guys. We've got upgraded goals this year that are super nice. That we're excited to bring out. So hopefully it, like the ball can get put off the post a little bit, which is nice. So it doesn't like collapse a goal if they get hit. So we're excited about that. And we'll show you guys that maybe on the Coaches Education Day, we'll bring them out. But yeah, so we're excited about what we've done kind of at the U5 and U7 age group. And again, they play with a size 3 soccer ball, which you'll get soccer balls on the Coaches Education Day. All right. So as we kind of get older, we go into the U8 and U10 format. Again, all games will be played on Carlsbad Field. We do our best. We do our best to keep you on the same fields again, but again, you want to pay attention to what that looks like. U8 will play 2 20-minute halves. U10 will play 2 25s. One referee per field, so you get like a ref at this age, and then coaches won't be on the field; they'll be on the sideline. All teams will play 7v7 with what we have a build out line or a play out line, which acts not only as the offside line, but it also acts as like the line of engagement for goal kicks and stuff like that, which we can get into more details about on our Coaches Education Day for those that are kind of unfamiliar with that rule. Because even if you played soccer growing up, this is a new thing that they've introduced probably about like 10 years ago now. But the idea of introducing that was to kind of encourage kids to build out the back as opposed to just booting it forward. So I'm not sure how much that's worked, to be honest, but it is what it is, and there's actually some benefits that go with it. And then this age group, we go up to a size 4, but the goalie can't punt the ball. All right, and that's important. So, and we tell our referees this as well. So it's important that the rules stay consistent throughout the season. As we get to U12, the game format looks very similar to U10, except it's a 9v9 field now, so a bit bigger, playing 5 more minutes. Still one referee, coaches on the sideline. We're using a size 4 still. The only difference really is the goalkeepers can punt here, but the kids can't head the ball. So it's that's really the only rule modification. It's 9v9 and also no headers. But the game looks very much like the game that you watch on TV. U14, it's the game you watch on TV. Size 5 ball, players can head the ball. 2 35-minute halves. Again, all games are still played in Carlsbad, which is nice because I think most leagues around San Diego, U14 teams have to travel, but not in our case. All of our teams will play in-house still. U16 and U19, the only one that looks a little bit different. This should be almost called semi-competitive. Our rec kids will play other rec teams from out the county, typically in North County. So like I think Del Mar typically has a team, Escondido, Vista, Oceanside, La Jolla. So some of those are like the more common ones. Rancho Santa Fe, they will have teams that we would play and that we would go to. All right. Okay. So this is important. Again, we'll send it out to everybody as well. If for some reason you have issues, Adam and myself will have access to this phone. But you could also send us an email. We do our best to check those emails on Saturdays as well. We try to log in and get to something. So for example, if you get to a field in the AM and all the gates are locked, give us a call. If you get to a field and like this happened before, a water line broke and the field was flooded. These are things that are out of our control, but obviously we want to know about it. like, and the field was like basically underwater. Things like this we should know about. If for some reason we show up and there's a softball thing going off on our field, which again, this has happened before. The city double books something, or if there's like a weather issue, like, knock on wood, but like, let's say it was a severe downpour or something, and you were unsure about the safety. You can have one of the referees contact us, or who have our cell phone numbers, or you can call that number and we'll do our best to assess and help you out. So what you should not call about, okay, and this is important too, because even though we say this now and we'll go over it again in our in-person meeting, this happens at least a couple times a year. um you know wait to call if you're upset about a team or a coach or a referee or a parent, okay, unless there is something crazy happen and there's a fight broke out or something like that. But if it was, you're upset about a PK that was given in the last minute of the game, wait 24 hours, guys. Like, don't call us at 5 p.m. steaming mad because a 14-year-old referee called the PK on you, right? Like, I promise you, our referees, and you'll get to meet them too as well. They could care less who wins these games. All right, I promise you that. They are there to do their best to get like some life experience, to have a job, and do what they need to do, but they are kids. And that's our number one complaint that we get about is referees, and we train our referees in house now. We've gotten way less as we've kind of taken more control over our referees, but I want to reiterate, and I think Adam speaks to this too, because these are kids in our program. These are kids that played in our rec program. These are kids that played in our competitive program. Like, and they're kids. We don't yell at kids. We don't yell at any kids. Okay, like, plain and simple. Or adult referees. We have adult referees too. Don't yell at them either, just because they're adults. All right. So that's a big one. All right. We'll always wait 24 hours for those things. Because if it's important after 24 hours and you really need to talk about it, like, we are here to talk about it. And I've heard some crazy conversations that coaches have want to talk to me about. And I will listen. I will do my best. It's my job to listen. So I promise you I will listen to your feedback and to your concerns. I just don't want to be yelled at while doing it. Usually people are a lot more calm after 24 hours. Okay. Something that we value here at City SC as well, kind of sets us apart, I think, is what we do as from an education standpoint. So additionally from having weekly curriculum that's tailored to your age group, which we're trying to get them videoed this year, which is really nice, something that we're working on as we speak. We are also providing a coach education course. So we are going to be doing that on Friday the 9th from 5:30 to 6:15. We'll be in person inside. And then on the field for an hour from 6:30 to 7:30 with a couple of competitive coaches. And then if you guys stick around, we will give you your uniforms and your gear. So that's your carrot at the end of the day, which won't take 30 minutes to get out, but it'll be faster than that. We've got some volunteers coming to assist with that. But it's gonna be a fun day. Something we're doing different this year is we're doing the uniforms picked up, which we'll go over. Uniforms will be picked up on that day, which is kind of nice. So on that day, you'll get your gear, your uniforms, and your coach's shirts. All that stuff is going to happen right then. So it'll be a nice, fun day for everybody. Similar to what we were just talking about, our weekly curriculum we'll be sending out to everybody. Okay. We'll have PDFs and then hopefully videos of everything, best we can. All sessions might not be videotaped, but we'll do our best to videotape most of them. We're working on it as we speak. And then it'll be 2 6-week cycles. So it'll be one you'll do like a building up the back session, which you'll do at the beginning of the season, and then you'll hit it again in the middle of the season. Creativity in the final third, things like that we'll get through. These are the type of sessions that we'll be sending out for the U8 for the U7 U5. Your curriculum will look a little different than U19, right? So yours is going to be fun games. Like, you are the clown at the center of your circus, and but it's really fun stuff that both myself and Adam do. In fact, I was doing this today at camp. So it's that confidence to have as you kind of produce your session. But yeah, we don't expect you guys to be doing full on rondos, or we're working on transitional moments at U7 and U5. Okay. We expect you to be a superhero or a captain of a pirate ship or something. So that's kind of like what your mentality is going to be at that age. All right. But the one thing that we will say is that all of our curriculum is going to be very individual player focused. So it will require most of them to have a ball at their feet. This is something that we reiterate to our parents as well. We want our kids touching a soccer ball as much as they possibly can. So in our parent email and our parent meeting that we have, we'll be making sure that all players should have a soccer ball with them. We don't expect our coaches to go out and buy 20 soccer balls to produce a soccer ball for each player on their team. All right. Practice schedule. Your practice schedule has been sent out, which is great. We are ahead of the game. And I know Adam has been pulling his hair out of his head, trying to put everyone there and giving their slotted times. And I believe if you're on this call, you probably have already submitted your practice time. Again, in the fall, we're lucky enough that we have enough field space to give you probably your first, second, or at least your third option. To my knowledge, I don't think anybody else we've had to go back to the drawing board for anything else, but we do have some nice field space allocations to us for the fall. Only thing I will kind of like throw out as a forewarning is just be aware of the time change, which happens at the end of the year. Couldn't wait, so it's like I think the last week of November where that, the time hits and it's dark at 5 o'clock. So it's just 1 week. Coaches try to like scramble and get to a field that has lights or do something maybe fun that day as your like kind of last practice of the season, and they, you forego what you need to do, but whatever you want to do that last week. But we will try to get you onto a lighted field for that last week if you need it. Okay. But best we can, we want to keep our practice time and allocations. We don't want to change that because the consistency is what makes it important, especially from what I can tell in our rec environment. Most of our kids do other activities, right? So whether it be swimming lessons or gymnastics or maybe competitive baseball or something like that, the more consistent you are, the better chance you have at a good turnout at your practice. So, the other thing about it is this will be also the one thing that you'll have to enter manually on your team snap. Your schedules will already be there. We'll enter your rosters for you. The only thing that you'll have to do is your practice time. And the reason we don't do that from a league wide is because if for some reason you had to cancel or adjust, you won't be able to do that. So we give you the ability to kind of do that as well. All right. Your team parent. Okay. So this is a very important thing. And even though most of our coaches, not most of our coaches, I'll say that some of our coaches don't take my advice and they try to take this role on as well. I would highly, highly, highly encourage you to find somebody else to take this responsibility. This does not need to be a soccer person. This could be your type A parent who's super organized and really wants to help out with the team, but they know anything about soccer, or they don't want to help out or whatever it may be, but this is how they can help the team. So this person will do this. They have some big things that they have to organize, which include pitcher day, time selections. It includes trophy information where you have to enter the kids' names into this like Google Doc for trophies. It also includes our team basket, our raffle basket, where every team will have to come up with a basket for our fundraiser that we do on club day. These are all things, guys, that as a coach, it's the last thing you want to worry about. I'm not kidding. And I can tell the coaches who do it, and there's some coaches who I'm not saying are not fantastic and can do both. And, you're Superman or Superwoman, but I would highly delegate this out. I really would. And it just makes your life easier. You worry about what's happening on the field, let somebody else worry about all that other stuff outside. Last thing you want to be doing is like having a practice and worrying about, oh my gosh, we need a basket for Sunday and it's Saturday, and that's when those like, we don't want you to do that. Okay. So best you can, you want to find somebody to do this for you. Our club day, which used to be the first Sunday of the month, first Sunday of the season. We changed it 2 years back after COVID, really, and it's stuck because it's been so much more convenient than having to try to get everything done by September 8th. So is now on Sunday, October 13th. This is where we have your basket raffle. So those are your two big things, like two big things off that list. Okay. And then one thing we talked about doing and bringing back was a coaches game. We did it a couple years back where we did one where it was 11v11. And then we did one where it was like a 7v7 tournament where we had a bunch of different teams playing because so many people wanted to participate in it. We could go as little as an arena game, but I think it'd be fun to get some sort of coaches game going on that weekend because I think our rec kids loved going out and supporting the coaches playing. and showing them what's up and how to play the game. So it was something that we did a couple years back, and I think Adam and I talked about maybe bringing it back and having some fun with it. One thing that is like, I know it seems so crazy and far away, but is All Stars just something to think about? We do All Stars from really U7 is its own little All Star thing. So we do pick All Stars. It's way less of a commitment than like U8 through U14. So if you're coaching a U8 or a U10 or a U12 or U14 team, um, it's we try to divvy up all stars onto all different rosters, right? So the idea on a rec team is that all teams are equal. Granted, one kid that looks like one kid that's an all star might be way better than everybody else, but we do our best to divvy up the talent so everybody gets an all star on their team. So it's something to think about as the season goes on and we ask for nominations. Because our U10 program is so big, typically you only get 2 nominations per U10. U12, you get maybe a little bit more, and U14, you get a little bit more. U8, you get more because it's only a one birth year team. But again, it's one of those things to think about because when nominations, we ask for them to be due in early October. Like a lot of people, I need more time. Like guys, like don't think about it too much. Like we're looking for this is like, people that go out and we need the best players, that's what we're trying to do. So, and our community of people and participants and coaches, they take the all-stars pretty seriously. So make sure we're picking, our top players. It's not players who, you know, oh, like I hear all the time, like so-and-so is our best player, but this kid really is, they've been working on their left foot all year and they finally got, it's like, oh, that's amazing, but like pick your best guys, pick your best guys and girls to go out and represent the all-star team. Okay. Unless for some reason they can't participate in it, then don't do that. But it's just something to think about and consider. Um, and guys, it's just this is important. And I have a couple videos that I'm going to share at the end of this that are like a minute long. But this is one that like if I had to pick an important slide, this is what it would be. This is a rec league. We do have our program is so nice because at City SC, not only do we have soccer for U5 players, but we also have like an MLS next team. We have a girls academy league. We have a semi-pro men's team that is involved. So we've got all these different avenues that players can play and participate in and do. But what we offer, which is the foundation of our club, and it's the biggest part of our club, quite frankly, it's our rec program. And so winning takes a back seat to everything else. All right. And so now I'm also a proponent that it's important for kids to try to win. It's important for kids to compete. I'm not this person who I think everyone should have a medal, just so you guys know. That's really not my philosophy. And in fact, if I could get rid of one thing in our program, that's what it would be. But that's just not that's just not that's not where we are, unfortunately, in a sports society. But all these things, like becoming a better person, leading by example, making it fun and enjoyable, those are all things that we can control. Okay. Because the life lessons that you teach on the field, the life lessons that these kids will remember will be you. They will remember you. They remember you coaching them, which is, if you've signed up to be a coach and you were like thinking like it's a big responsibility in that sense, you'll get kids who will see you 4 years later and be like, oh my gosh, coach, can I take a picture with you? And when you're like shopping at Vaughn's or whatever, and it's like, those are the moments that you want to be that coach that they want to say hello to, not that they're like, oh my God, I hated that guy or I hated that girl, so you don't want to be that person, teach them, be fair, be like, I like say, like, when I'm Coach Greg, I'm different than everyday Greg, so it's something that I really do take, I'm very passionate about, clearly, and it's something that I want you to be as well. So just keep that in mind. Yeah, winning, we don't win at all costs here. It's one of those things where it needs to be fun. Okay. As we talked about, our job, Adam and my job, is to build these teams so that they are fair teams and they're balanced rosters. We all know that if there was a perfect way to do that, we would have figured it out by now. Well, right now there is no perfect way. And we give rankings to every kid. We know who's an all-star. We know all of this, but it still happens where teams will be stronger than other teams, right? It's just bound to happen because you can't, only so much data goes into it. So These are the parameters you take that if you find yourself in a lopsided environment, the last thing that we want to try to do, as you'll see, is removing players from the field. Okay. We don't, we, in a perfect world, we would never remove anybody from the field. We can add players, totally okay with adding players for, especially for the other team, but to punish a team because they're winning 5-0 by removing somebody, to me is like one of those things where we're now doing a disservice to these kids because the fun part is playing a game. The best thing that you could do in a situation where your team is really strong, and I'll talk about this more on the coach's day, but is as you kind of move players around and you give players objectives, it's like, hey, we can only score off of a cross now. And what that does is it still allows the game to play in a what will seem like in a competitive manner, but it's obviously more difficult to score. And so, or what I would do is I would be like, okay, obviously in the most respectful way possible, but I would say it's, like, let's say it's a kid who's never scored a goal. It's Johnny's turn to score a goal, and we have to try to get him the ball to score the goal. And so the whole game is being focused on getting that kid the ball to score a goal. So it still feels very much like a game. And I think that's what we want. We don't want to take away from the integrity from the sport and the integrity from the game. So really look at this. We'll send out more reminders as this goes, and but we also want to avoid teams being beat, 20-0. Not that happens in our program, but yeah, we just don't want that happening. Okay, this was a big problem before I came into the program. It's not so much a real problem anymore. It happens a couple times a year where we have to remind a coach. Maybe it was like 7-0 or 8-0 game. Even then, some. Listen, guys, I've coached. Not only have I coached like at a high level at college, I've coached little guys, and you try telling a 6-year-old kid not to score a goal. It's very difficult, so I can sympathize with that too. But I think even then some, it's the communication you're having with the coach as this is happening. So that's just important, is having that open communication with the team and the players and everything else. And this kind of goes into what we're talking about with the culture of our program. Both teams share a sideline, and we do that for a couple of reasons. For one, so if coaches have to have a conversation, they're not yelling at each other; they're simply talking to each other. And we want all parents on the opposite sideline because we don't want them. We want everybody cheering for everybody. We want it to be we want them to we want to entertain the parents, right? So we want it to be an environment where it's fun, it's exciting, it's competitive. And remember that this is not like there's no rivals here. These are all kids that probably go to school with each other, who played together for a long time, that go to camp together, that they surf, they walk, they learn, they do all these things together. So we don't want it to be like a crazy rivalry game in our program. We don't want that. We want it to be a fun, competitive environment. And so that's why we do this. So coaches can communicate with each other and talk about it. We don't post standings, guys. Like, we keep internal standings so we know at the end of the year where teams will fall. But you don't get a first place trophy if you finish in league, or if you whatever else. But like we do give you that term at the end of the year where it's a little different, right? It's a little bit more competitive. But this is something that like we really want you to understand. And then we always tell our team to say thank you, parents, to everybody at the end of each game. It takes 10 seconds as both teams walk out. 1, 2, 3, thank you, parents. And it goes a long way. I think it sets a tone there. So it's something that we want to see. Okay, some important dates. Again, you're going to get your rosters, which we'll talk about in like the next slide, I think. Hopefully by tomorrow. That's the plan. I know on the girl side, Coach Adam has crushed it and got them all done. I am still adjusting some of them and adding some late kids to rosters. So my goal is to get them all to you guys by tomorrow, the latest. Some divisions might be a little bit later, but not more than 2 days. And so your parents, this is July 23rd. We're letting you know that you got to contact your parents by August 1st. So let's say worst case scenario, you get your rosters on the 25th on Thursday. That gives you all weekend to contact everybody, and really another week. So you got almost 10 days to give everybody a call, which is plenty of time. We'll talk about this next too, but like, why we want you to call as opposed to email. Then the next thing is, again, August 9th is our coaches meeting. Your optional week of practice will be next. Then your first official practice where everyone needs to be practicing. everyone needs to be practicing on that week of the 19th. Then on the 7th, this really doesn't apply for U5 or U7 because yours is always kind of a scrimmage day. But for our U8 where we have referees, this first day, this first game is kind of like a trial run. It's something that we did back a couple seasons ago, and we had such positive feedback on it that we kept it, and it's like our scrimmage day. So essentially, both teams will get the field. You'll be in your uniforms, but we use it as a training day for our referees, and we also use it as like a training day for our teams and our coaches, like a dry run. So you guys are able to kind of scrimmage in real time, less pressure of like getting everything right. Maybe work on corner kicks. I've seen some teams do a PK shootout at the end of the game, just because it's fun for all the kids. So you can really have fun. You get the field for an hour. It feels very much like a game, but it's we just call it our scrimmage day. Then the first official game will be on the 14th, followed by the next big thing is November 9th, which is the final game of the season, which is also championship day weekend. This is important. We will also remind everybody starting today all the way up through that day, and expect to have a game on Friday the 8th, Saturday the 9th, and Sunday the 10th. Okay. We will also make sure all the parents know, but we say it every year, but there's always a team or two who are blindsided because they didn't no idea there was gonna be a game on Friday or Sunday. So we will keep reminding everybody. It's on your team snap now, but it's one thing that we will keep on pushing as the season goes on. That you will have games, and that's for our U10, U12, and U14 teams. Okay, which is the bulk of our teams. Please plan on having a game on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday of that weekend, which is Veterans Day weekend. Okay. Only thing I don't have on here is Club Day, which I talked about is I think I said October 16th. That's that day. That's not on this important date list that you want to keep in mind. Okay. Rosters via Team Snap. So I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Adam, but everybody has been assigned to a team that's a coach already. So you've already have your access to your Team Snap roster. Correct. Yes, perfect. So you should already be the owners of that team. You should already be it. Once I send you these rosters, which are going to be on, like I said, either tomorrow or Thursday. Some of you might get them tonight. Okay. Once you get your rosters, you do not need to add them into Team Snap. Okay. We'll put that in the email when we send it out too. We are adding them into Team Snap for you. The reason we do that is because, let's say, for example, I messed up big time and I have Coach Johnny here and he looks at his roster and guess what? His son's not on the team. So I can make that adjustment before a parent sees it, right? Because it's going to happen. Mistakes happen. We're humans and it could happen. I hope it doesn't, but it could. So they're not live until they're live, if that makes sense, right? So it just gives us an opportunity to kind of fix things. The other thing about it, even though we tell parents 1,000 times, they still put coach requested. And so when a parent gets a Team Snap request that they've been added to a roster, but they haven't talked to their coach yet, and it says they're on Coach Greg's team, but they're really upset because they really want to be with Coach Adam, who coached the Bad News Bears to a championship round and really was the best thing that their son or daughter could have ever happened. Now they've got mean old Coach Greg and they don't even know who I am, right? What this does is it gives the coach, the parent, an opportunity to get excited about that you're their coach, because it's more personal to receive a phone call to be like, I'm so excited to be coaching your son or daughter. I'm sorry that you want to coach Adam, but I'm really excited to have the kids. Like, I've been coaching, I've been doing this for a long time. I'm a teacher, I'm a firefighter, I'm a doctor, whatever whatever you're going to say to get them excited about it. That's what we want. That's what we want. Okay. And it's just, we've got way less kickback if they've got a phone call first. Okay. So it's really important that you call first. All right. And then Team Snap is an amazing feature as well. You can track your team's availability, send team alerts, everything else. This is something that we provide for our teams. This is an added fee that costs us money as a program. But the organization tools that it provides you as a coach and your team parent with is beyond useful. So it's something that we really encourage and we really want you to use and take advantage of. And again, I'm saying these Team Snaps will be available to you by tomorrow. If like, for example, I'm going to be so honest, U10 boys is a bear of a program. If for some reason I don't get it, I will let you know. But I should have it done by tomorrow. That's my goal. So, but yeah, so we will be fine. But again, call your team first.
Greg, do you want to tell them the date that the rosters will go into Team Snap, just so they don't get nervy and
Yeah,
add them?
yes, your roster. So what we'll do is they will be in there by August 1st, because that gives us, is that right? I'm saying that, Adam?
Yeah, yeah.
No, it is August 5th. Sorry, August 5th, we'll go live with Team Snap rosters. We're telling you to contact everybody by August 1st. That gives you a little bit of leeway time, but parents will hear from their teams by August 5th, which means that that's when I'm going to push go on those Team Snap rosters. Okay. So August 5th is the day, but you will make your phone calls by August 1st. Okay. That's what it will be. Thanks, Adam. Uniforms. Okay. Again, talked about it a little bit. Uniforms will be delivered on the coaches' day this year. We're renting a U-Haul, bringing them all over, having volunteers give them out to everybody. Same thing as last year, sponsorships. Every team should get a sponsorship. Typically, we have no problem with this. I think last year we had a 205 teams or something like that, and I think we had 170 sponsorships. So the sponsorships come in. We don't punish you for not having a sponsorship yet because our numbers have been so good, but we don't want to be in that situation. I know Friday Night Lights does that, where it's like you can opt out of a sponsorship, but we really don't want that. We want to support our local businesses. We want our local businesses to support what we do. And these kids wear these jerseys like they wear the life out of them. So it actually is a great deal for a sponsorship. Yeah, for a business. Businesses go up on our website as well. So and they get like a little sponsorship plaque they put on their wall. So it's a good deal, and they're supporting the community. And that money goes right back to our program. So, like for example, this year we upgraded the goals for U5 and U7. We just bought brand new nets for everything else. Like, so we're able to kind of put some of that money back into our program. There's also talks for those that don't know. What we've done with that money in the past is we've gotten a rec trainer. So we'll have 2 rec trainers this year that come out and help out everybody. So we really put the money back into our program best we can. This doesn't go into my pocket. I wish it did, but it doesn't. This goes back into our program and help the kids. And I know this year we did raise our fees. Like, this is the first time since I've been here we had a pretty significant price increase. Like I think it was like a $20 increase. But this does keep our costs down, guys. Like it really does. Like we don't raise our prices every year. In fact, I've already made it a point to tell them that I can't foresee us raising them much more than we already have, because I want to keep this as low cost as I possibly can. And the sponsorships really do help with that. All of them will be printed at Gold Line, which is in Bressie Ranch. So it's a little bit of a drive, especially for people that live in North Carlsbad, but they just give us the best deal. We've been working with them for the past like 5 years, and they're great. We're Nike again this year. All home jerseys will be white. Away jerseys will be navy this year, and will be navy socks and shorts. So love that color combo, and I think it's going to look really sharp on the fields. All right. We've got a couple. I'm gonna leave some questions, but before I do, I know I'm like I said, a 15 minutes over. It's my fault for what's it called for going over, but I'm gonna just share this one video that I saw.
I think that one of the things that coaches really need to pay attention to and keep in the forefront of their minds at all times when they're coaching is that the one thing that the kids understand is the scoreboard aspect of the game. They get winning and losing. And I think as coaches, we don't need to focus on that aspect of any game. They get that. My 10-year-old son, he gets that. When he played a basketball game, they didn't have a scoreboard. I sat at the game, was kind of perplexed why they didn't have a scoreboard. They're trying to teach values and the unimportance of the game. And he came off the court after the game and told me exactly what the score was, 41-43, and they had won. So they get that from a very young age. What I think it is that we're continually encouraging them. We're making them feel good about themselves, teach them to play hard, to compete, to show good sportsmanship. Those are the things that we as coaches need to focus on. The actual winning or losing, those type of things, they get that. We can teach them how to handle both those things better. But I think all of our time and energy need to be directed towards really these life skills that we can incorporate in the game that we play.
So that's honestly, I think that like little 1 minute video like really sums up what I think us, especially on the recreation side of things, should be focusing on, right? Again, I'm at camp right now with coaching kids who are ages 4 all the way up to 14. We play games at the end of the day. They all know the score. They know. We don't keep score, but believe me, they do. So it's important that we're doing everything else and we're emphasizing everything else that we want to be doing. And that's, this is guys, our tagline for a long time, at least on the rec side of things, has been it's more than soccer. Yes, we run a soccer program. Or like what I hate is when people talk to me like, it's just soccer. It's like it's a lot more than that, guys. Like, we're teaching life skills. Like we are teaching kids to be on time. We're teaching kids to compete. We're teaching kids how to work with people. Like my daughter did the jamboree last year, and let's just say I don't think I'm gonna be getting any D1 offers anytime soon. But really what I loved about it is she's hearing a different voice. She's working with kids. She's being told to push herself, and like those are the things that as a parent, we want our coaches to be telling our kids. So we think about it from that perspective. All right. So that's what we're gonna end with. I think Adam, I don't know if you've been answering questions in that team.
Yeah, I've been cruising through them. We can just do it out loud now. It's probably easier and quicker than me typing. Yeah, the sponsorship form we'll send that out. We also have a coach's handbook which has all the rules of the game in. I know Greg will send the presentation, but the handbook has a little bit more in depth in the rules, and we'll get the sponsorship form to the coaches too. So we got all that for you guys. And then every other question answered so far, guys. But if you have any more, just pop them on in.
Yeah, or you can feel free to unmute yourself too. I mean, this is what it is. And I will say this, I'll do this too. Just in case you don't have any more questions, like I really do appreciate all your time. I know I'm a little over what I wanted to, and typically I'm right at that 7:30 mark. So I must have been on a hot one. I was fired up to go, but obviously that 5 minutes killed me, got me out of my rhythm. But I hope what you can tell is that myself and Adam are passionate about this program. We are. We really do try to set ourselves up apart from everybody else. Like this is more than just a soccer program. This is something that we really, really feel strongly about and how important it is. And I know we are fighting for dollars, guys, in the office about keeping the price down and doing these things because we don't want it to be a reason why people aren't coming back, and we want it to be a reason why kids aren't playing. Like we want more kids to be playing. Like we got 2,600 kids. In our program, but me and Adam want it to be 5,000, not because we just want to grow the sport. We want to provide our experience. We think we provide a great youth sports experience, and we just really want to kind of do that. And you guys are like our vessel to send our message through to everybody else because I probably would coach 2,600 kids, but Adam would get a little cranky after 2,600 kids, I think. So you're our vessel to be that. Okay. So I just really do appreciate everybody. I appreciate your time. I appreciate everything that you're doing. But yeah, I just, I really do thank you. So from the bottom of my heart, I thank you so much for being a part of our program and for helping and coaching. I know it's not easy. So we'll go over more of this stuff kind of at the education day, but you're free to go now if you want to. If you have questions, feel free to drop them in the chat or unmute yourself. But we do just thank you so much for being a part of our program. And you're representing our brand, and it's something that me and Adam and really the whole club is. I know Cheryl's on this too, so thanks, Cheryl. We feel strongly about, and this is more than soccer, guys. This is like this is big stuff, and we're making better people. So thank you for being a part of it.
Greg, a good one here is I got it a couple of times here is what if I don't have an assistant coach? So we would say probably about 50% of our teams have assistants, maybe a little bit more. Obviously, when you know people, it's easy to kind of get them involved. If you don't have an assistant coach, definitely when you kind of make your calls, that would be one of the first things. You might even be lucky enough where somebody's like, "Hey, I'm actually available to help." So obviously straight away there you got lucky, and that's your person. If not, I would definitely put some feelers out. I know some people, you have work business, you got to fly away for a week or two and you need someone to cover you. We do have our rec trainers that can help when needed, but it's always good to have an assistant. So definitely putting the feelers out during the calls. I know, and I'm helping a few of you guys that really, really do need an assistant coach, but after that, once you normally would send maybe like a base email, like, hey, I'm still looking for somebody to help out. And I would say 90% of the time, there's always one person. If not after that point, you can always kind of touch base with us, and we have a few ideas and tricks up our sleeves as well, to get those coaches.
Yeah, and I think to Adam's point, just to echo this, nobody wants to be the head coach. Everybody wants to be the assistant coach. So no one wants to take on that full responsibility. And I would just caution yourself of opening that door to everybody that says they want to do it too. So last thing you want is a team of 8 coaches on the sideline when you only have 11 players too. So you can respectfully say, oh, we're good, but I appreciate it. If something changes, I'll let you know. But yeah, to Adam's point, usually during those phone calls or an email, you'll get an assistant coach to come out and help out. Nobody just wants that head coach role. So except for you guys, which we really appreciate, but most people want to be the assistant, not the head coach.
Pardon me, Greg. Philip Urbina here. If you have a conflict for one practice, you're just here and there, is it possible to just try to move it up a little bit, or squeeze in someplace or something? And what is the process for that?
It's a great question. So yes, like the short answer is yes. But keep in mind, again, I'll just like echo that our rec parents, even more than our competitive parents, are very like, I can only practice at this time because I put it in my schedule.
Yeah.
So just be cautious of that. But if it's a one-off, yeah. So we have that practice doc that you saw that Adam sent out to us. That is a live doc, really. So we don't like lock it or close it. So if like, let's say for example, Phil, like you're like, oh my gosh, I have a work meeting. We practice on Thursdays. I have to go to town. I want to move my practice to Wednesday. I asked my team. They said it was cool. I noticed on the practice doc, nobody's at Lacoste Meadows from 5 to 6. Can I move my practice there for this one time? And yeah, the answer is absolutely, of course, no problem. But I would just caution you from doing it a bunch, because like that's, for whatever reason, that's the one where parents will get really upset about, So and you also don't want to show up to a practice with like 2 kids, that's a private lesson. So, but yeah, no,
Thank
Phil,
you.
not a problem. So you'll have that doc that you can just save, and kind of look and see what that looks like.
Thank you.
Hi there, got a question. My name is Donovan, coach of a U7 girls team. The sponsorship form and everything, I know that'll be sent out. Is there perhaps some sort of a list of potential or common people, common businesses that usually do sponsor that we could reach out to as well involved in that document?
Of course, yeah. So, and we'll go over this with our team parents as well. It's a great question, Donovan. So because we've actually had so much success in this like area, the first thing that we ask you to do is to actually ask your team before even looking at that list, because you'll be surprised on like the amount of parents that like they can't support being a coach or a team parent, but they want to, sponsor their team. It's like they get like a lot of pride in having their business being on the back of the jerseys. But let's say if that happens and they don't have somebody, yes, we have prior lists of people who have sponsored in past that we have no problem sharing with.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yep.
Adam there with the practice for the U10. So what we do is once I'm looking for, I need about 10 more coaches to give me their practice schedules, or kind of their options. Once we lock those 10 in, I'll actually send a message to the U10 coaches, because you do have an option to then do a second practice. So you can take a look, see what else is left, and then I would put you in and lock you in for that second practice. But for the U10s, we want to make sure everyone has kind of a look and an overview of the practice schedule before we do that. Hopefully that helps you there. There's one more with the referees. I lost it. I'm not sure that one.
I saw it. Yes,
Mike, that one?
Yeah, we meet with our referees. Adam does a great job with the refs, and we will make sure that we try to enforce that rule and educate our referees on that second touch rule. That's like kind of an in-house rule.
Yeah.
Hey, this is Josh. I'm hoping you guys can help me with something. So I coached a couple of years ago, and the daughter I coached 2 years ago, she's now in the competitive program, and she went to a camp recently, and she's only 11, but she was in there with a lot older kids, like 16, 17, and they were teaching um basically shoving, to get the ball. And I'm struggling with this as a coach because I don't, like when I watch a professional match, I don't see shoving. If you shove, you get like a yellow card or a red card or and I understand the spirit of keeping this keeping it fun, trying to keep it a rec league and all that. But I mean, what do you do? What is your advice? I mean, I'm just struggling with it. It just seems like there's a disconnect there because we want the league to be fun, but inevitably there's some kids that are playing very aggressive, and so I just and the refs, most of the refs are kids, right? So they don't want to be the bad guy. They don't want to make the calls, and they don't want to give somebody a kick somebody out of a game or something like that. So I just kind of want to get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I mean, I think like initially what I would tell you is uh maybe in that competitive camp, I'm not sure what they were like going over, if they were going over shielding or what. But in my curriculum, I don't have any shoving or anything, so I think we're off to a great start there. But listen, soccer is a contact sport. You obviously can't use your hands or your arms, but your shoulders to shield the ball. We teach kids to use their body to protect the ball. It's yes, it's a slippery slope in what it can be, but I do think that we can talk to our referees and let them know that to try to give them tools and ways to kind of manage a game so that things don't get out of hand. And then listen, there's even though we're in a rec environment, there are plenty of competitive kids that are in our rec environment, right? So I understand where you're coming from on that, Josh, and how to control that, because like our rec program is interesting because you can have a kid who's a four-time all-star, maybe competitive baseball player, going against somebody who's literally never played the sport before, right? So the levels are all over the place and the competitive spirit's all over the place. But I think it's our job to talk and to educate our referees on how to manage that, especially if they are former players. They can kind of help those players adjust and do what they need to do. It's something that we could touch base on in our referee education piece as well. But ultimately, it's player safety is our number one concern. Whether that be the field conditions or whether that be over aggressive players or actions. But like there's a big for whatever reason we always get this too, like halfway through the year, someone will be like, you can't slide tackle, and no, you can. Like it's a proper, if they're doing it correctly, it's a slide tackle. It's something that we do. Obviously we don't teach kids how to do it in our rec program, but if they're watching TV or they see someone doing it, like they're going to try to emulate that, as long as they're doing it in a safe way. So it's again, we want to encourage that competitive spirit, but we don't want it to be unsafe. And it's so I understand where you are in that, and I think that we will try to manage that best we can with our referees. But if for some reason, Josh, you see something that you don't like, the best thing to do is email us and let us know. Give us an example, and we can then either talk to that referee, talk to that coach, or even talk to that player if we need to. But that's what I would say.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Right. Jose, real quick on your question for the U16 and the U19, it's a little different. We don't have per se a north and a south, just because of the numbers, the amount of participants. Most of the times we'll have two U16 teams, maybe one U19 team. I know this year we're lucky enough to get three, but the rosters are a mixture of north and south kids. We also put you guys on the turf at Stagecoach for one practice. It's nice to practice together. It's actually where our competitive teams practice on the turf majority, but we like to give you guys that spot to work together so you can practice and scrimmage. And we actually try and get a few of your games on the turf, so it's nice to have that opportunity to kind of practice on it as well. This year, that's why you guys are down there for one practice, and then obviously for your second practice, you can then choose and go wherever. but you will have North and South kids on your roster.
I'm just gonna kind of echo what Adam said in the comments, like just kind of like what we're talking about with Josh. Adam, I love that. Yeah, I think anytime we can, I think we do a referee appreciation day, Adam. Am I right in that? Do we do something like we do a ref appreciation
We
day?
have, yeah.
Yeah, we've
Yeah.
done it in the past, and it's something that has been really fun to watch. And like the kids will come out and like they make posters for the referee and stuff too, and they give like Gatorades and whatnot. So I think it's a really cool thing that we've done and we do. And I think that anytime we can humanize the referee best we can is amazing, right? Because again, I'm passionate about this because these are all kids that have played in our program. This is their first job, a lot of them, you know. So it's a big responsibility on that end too. And something that I'm going to steal. I saw this on a LinkedIn thing where they gave a all the referees who are under 18 like a different color whistle. So it's like to and remind that so the parents can like see that like, oh, this is a child, you know, like I'm not going to yell at a child today. And so we're going to like, I think I'm going to try to implement that into our program as well. Knowing most of these referees, they might lose that whistle. But I think I'm still going to try to do something along those lines. But I love that. I love your feedback there, Joanna, too, and Cheryl as well.
If I could add to that a little bit as a referee, or up until I had my knee surgery, which is why I'm coaching now instead of refereeing, we are dreadfully short of referees.
Mm-hmm.
And I have mentored many young referees, and my first job, and I tell them, is my first job is to protect them. We have to protect those kids so they can stay as referees. And that means sometimes nice feedback, but so many of these referees, if it's not fun, they quit very quickly. My son's first game was U6, U7 girls, and he was screamed at by this coach over and over again. And but he still came back and he stayed until he was 18. But some kids quit quickly. We need to protect them.
Yeah, it's great. Thanks, Phil.
I think the questions are run out, I think. Any more? All right, we'll stay on here, Greg, but anyone free to leave if they want. We'll stay on here till the last person leaves. Or Greg will. I'm gonna go for dinner.
Thank you.
Thanks, Phil. Appreciate you.
Thanks, guys.
You bet.
Thank you, guys.
I have a question. I'm Mindy. Can you hear me?
Yeah, Mindy, what's going on?
Hi, this is my first year. So I'm going through the steps of the training with the Go Sport or Got Sport.
Yep.
That. And I did the grassroots training. Then do I also have to do 2 in-person trainings?
Nope.
It's a little confusing.
That's all you got to do is that grassroots course covers you. Mindy, were you the one who just messaged me about the
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So if you send me that, I'll have our office staff look for you, to see what's done. But just the grassroots online one, is the one. And in that email, the little 4 things we said, just those ones. I know there's some more stuff on that Got Sport module. Just ignore the ones that we didn't list.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
No worries. Thanks for getting that done.
All right. Thanks again, guys. It's Chris, James.
Oh, Chris.
See you guys pretty soon.
All right, Chris. Appreciate
Chris.
you, man.
Bye.
Cindy with that. Yeah, absolutely.
We do actually, Cindy. Like it's something that we talk about, and I even make jokes about it in my team parent meeting that like I'm gonna tell you guys all the time to not bring donuts, and I know that the 8 o'clock team is always gonna bring donuts. So I do, yes. And I would actually love some stuff if you have it to access like that. We can, you know, help give that documentation to that team parent. The team parent meeting is not until middle of August typically. So if you have access to any of that kind of stuff, like or like you know, healthy sports like items like a PDF or something, I would love to be able to provide that. I do send something, but nothing like I'm not a doctor. I'm a soccer coach who probably loves a donut too much. So but yeah, we tell our team parents that when they make their snack thing to try to be as healthy as possible. Appreciate your continuing too.
Awesome. Yeah, I actually read something on like 100. There's a post on 100 days of real food that like speaks to this question. So I'll try and pull it up and I'll email it to you.
I'd be honestly really amazing, like because it is something that like again, I don't think we're gonna stop the donut fad at like 8 o'clock. I really do want to, like, I would love it. But like, it's just one of those things that we do. I promise I touch on it every single year to like, please bring healthy snacks, like, be cautious of like things. And it's always better to have nice real food after a thing anyways, so.
Right. And
Yeah.
the idea that, yeah, the kids love it and like they don't need it.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Cool. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you, Cindy.
Thank you. On to the bare bones, Greg.
All right. Well, if you're still on and you will go, but I appreciate everybody being on the call. Cheryl, I think you're still on here, Cheryl. Thanks, Cheryl.
Yeah, so the Padres totally cooperated because I'm in Washington, D.C., and they finished their game in 2 hours and 15 minutes and won, so I could get back to the hotel to get on this call.
Appreciate you so much.
No pads.
All right, let me know if you guys need anything from me, okay?
We'll do,
I'm from
Cheryl.
Washington, D.C. I love it. I love Washington, D.C. I was there last summer. I love it.
It's a little hot and a little
It's hot.
humid, but
Yeah.
besides that, it's cool.
It's awesome. Thanks, Cheryl.
All right, thanks, guys.
See you, Cheryl.
Bye.
And I think I'll end unless someone's got, there's like 8 people left, but I will end now too. So thanks everybody. I really appreciate y'all.
It's the ones that fell asleep when you were talking, Greg.
I know.
Made it all the way